Now, this process is incredibly useful if you experience triggers, anxiety triggers. Now, most of us do. Most people who are suffering from anxiety experience these psychological, emotional fear triggers. Something that can happen which can trigger you into panic. So you can be going about your day and you can be feeling okay or maybe just a little anxious. And then someone says something, or you read something online, or something happens in your life and it triggers this anxiety to get even stronger in your body. And you might even describe that reaction as panic. Or it doesn't need to be anxiety, it can be any emotion. You might feel this wave of embarrassment or shame, something comes up in the body. You're kind of okay, you're maybe just a little bit anxious, or you may be fine. And then something happens, a thought comes into your head, someone says something to you, you read something online, something happens in your external life which brings on this wave of emotional energy. And that wave of emotional energy, let's call it anxiety or fear, comes up, and that can start creating this loop of anxious thinking in the mind. Now, this might come out of nowhere. You might just suddenly start having thoughts about something, and those thoughts create this emotion in the body, and the emotion in the body creates the thoughts. Now, what happens is, when you are triggered in this way, when something happens and it triggers an emotional reaction in you, what happens is the emotion in the body, the fear in the body, the anxiety in the body creates anxious thinking in the mind. And that anxious thinking in the mind creates more of the same frequency of energy in the body. So anxious thinking in the mind creates more anxious feeling in the body. And fearful, anxious feeling in the body creates fearful, anxious thinking in the mind. And that fearful, anxious thinking in the mind creates more fearful, anxious feeling in the body, which creates more anxious thinking in the mind, and you can be pulled in to this vicious cycle of thinking, feeling, and you can be taken over by that, and you can stay stuck in that for hours or days or weeks, or even people can stay in that for months. And that is what I call being pulled into the vicious cycle of anxiety. Thoughts and feelings feeding each other and pulling you in. And most people don't know a way out of it. Most anxiety sufferers don't know a way out of that pattern. So they just they don't know how to cope. They feel overwhelmed. They might be going on the internet to try and distract themselves, or going eating food, smoking cigarettes, shopping online, whatever it is to try and get away from it. And it can feel horrible that this thing can come up within you, and it can take you over, and it can pull the joy out of your life, and it can pull the peace out of your life. And where you could have been going out with friends or just having a nice day at home, instead you're caught in this hellish experience of fearful thinking and feeling. Now, I hope that explanation has kind of explained the mechanism of how this works. But I also want to explain a way out of it. And not only a way out of it, you can use this method that I'm about to explain to, when the trigger happens, to not only get pulled into it, you can stop yourself from being pulled into it, but you can also use that trigger to drive you into a deeper state of beingness inside. A deeper place of beingness inside. You can use all anxiety triggers as an opportunity to awaken. To awaken to the freedom of being. Now, I'm going to explain the process to you. So, you're going about your day, you're maybe just a bit anxious or not anxious at all. and something happens, someone says something, or a thought comes into your head which thinks, oh no, this terrible thing is going to happen in the future. And that fearful thought that comes into your head, oh no, what if this happens? How can I cope with this? Then creates the fearful feelings in the body. And then the fearful feelings in the body come up and create the thoughts in the mind, and you find yourself caught in this vicious cycle of thinking, feeling. Now what you can do, in the moment you recognize that this mechanism of being pulled into this vicious cycle of anxiety, the moment you see I'm about to be pulled into that, instead of what most people do, which is give all of their attention to the thoughts, getting caught up in the thoughts, thinking all of these thoughts. Oh, what if this? How can I get out of that anxiety? Oh no, the anxiety is happening again. Oh no, this is going to happen to me tomorrow. Instead of giving attention to the thinking up here, as soon as you notice that you're about to be pulled into that loop of feeling, thinking, you bring the whole extent of your attention down into the feeling. I'll say again, the trigger comes in and it triggers this mechanism of feeling, thinking. But as soon as you notice you're about to be pulled into it, all you do is you bring the whole extent of your attention down into the feeling in your body. And you stay with the feeling in your body. You might feel it as a contraction in the heart. You might feel it as butterflies in the belly. You might feel it as a clamping in the throat. Now, the normal thing that would happen is these feelings, the butterflies in the belly, the tightening in the heart, the clamping in the throat, the tension in the shoulders, the normal thing that would happen there is, in order to escape that feeling, you would place your attention up in the thinking, and you would start thinking all of these thoughts, and that is what causes you the suffering. The trigger comes in, and the thoughts start coming in, the feelings start coming in, and you give attention to the thinking, and that keeps you trapped in this vicious cycle. That is what causes you the suffering. But if as soon as the trigger comes in and you notice you're getting pulled into this, you just notice, where in my body are these feelings of fear? I can feel something in my throat. I can feel something in my heart. It's in my belly. And you place your attention there. And you keep your attention there. And when you do this, when you place the whole extent of your attention down in the feeling, you fill your body with your attention. You feel your hands, feet, legs, arms, and you feel the feeling or the feelings. You cut that vicious cycle of feeling, thinking. The feelings remain, but the thinking, the psychological turmoil of thinking all these horrible, negative, anxious thoughts does not move. And then you're just with the pure energy of the feeling. The pure energy of the feeling. Now, when you do this, the trigger comes in, you see that you're going to get pulled into thinking, and you direct the attention down into the body and you stay with the feeling. The thinking settles down and you're just with the feelings. You can experience that feeling in the body as pure energy. Without thought corresponding to it, it's just pure energy. And you stay with the energy of anxiety in the body. You let yourself feel that energy of anxiety in the body. Now, something within you will not want to do this. Something within you is afraid of these feelings. Because when you were a little girl or boy, these feelings were too overwhelming. And so you had to escape into thinking. But now as an adult, these feelings won't overwhelm you. You just come into them, place your attention on them, feel them, be with them, experience them, stay with the feelings. And you'll notice a miracle. The psychological suffering of anxiety in the thinking settles down. And you will realize that feeling alone, and the feeling of anxiety on its own, causes no suffering. And you might actually open into a state of joy and a deep state of peace. And in doing this, you've awakened beyond the mind into your being. Now, something else magical happens if you stay in the feeling. And remember, the mind is enticing. It'll try and pull you in. Something in you wants to suffer. It wants to experience anxiety. It wants to keep this anxious thinking going. Something will try and pull you up there. As soon as you notice something trying to pull you up there, you just bring attention back down and you stay in the feeling. Something will tell you that this is dangerous, that you can't do this. But this is a doorway to freedom. It's a doorway to freedom. Stay with the panic in the body. Stay with the feeling in the body, wherever it is. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it. And what you might notice happening is these feelings in the body might start to grow. And if you stay with them, when they start to grow, you might think this is too much and you might want to escape into thinking. But don't do that. See what happens if you just stay with the feeling and let them grow. And those feelings growing, seemingly getting bigger, is actually the energy of anxiety starting to open up and empty out of your nervous system. You're meeting it with the light of your own presence. You're meeting it with the healing light of your own presence. And in that healing light of your own presence, which is your attention, in simply placing your attention in your body and not allowing your attention to be pulled up into the thinking up here, staying in the body and meeting the body, meeting the belly, meeting the heart, meeting the throat, the back, the shoulders, staying with the body. These feelings of anxiety, this energy of anxiety which has been stuck down, causing you this suffering for years, starts to empty out of the nervous system. And the feelings might carry on going for a while. And that's perfect, that's okay, that's meant to happen. The feelings take a little while to move through your system. And notice, the moment you take attention out of the feelings, you'll be in the anxious thinking again, and you'll be in the suffering again. So you have a choice. Stay with the feelings and be free and happy and at peace, even if there's difficult feeling there. You're free. Or come out of the feelings and allow attention to come up here into this suffering place of, I'm feeling anxious and scared, and that is the suffering. This is not suffering. This is freedom. And if you do this every time, or as much as you can, when an anxiety or a panic trigger happens, if you stay in the body as much as you can when an anxiety or panic trigger happens, then you will become an expert of not getting pulled into that mind, and you'll become an expert of being present. They say that spiritual awakening is a deep entering into this moment. And this is the opportunity that anxiety and panic affords you. This is the opportunity that these triggering emotional reactions afford you. They are an invitation deeply into the body. And because of that, they are an invitation deeply out of your mind. And because of that, they are an invitation deeply into this moment, right here. And an invitation deeply into the knowing of your own being, which is this sense of being completely at home, this sense of inner warmth, this sense of being held by life, held by love. So, thank you so much for listening to this video. If it resonates, try it out, use it, see. And if it doesn't resonate, then there's plenty of other tools that we're sharing for you as well. But this one technique I've just introduced you to completely transformed my life. It took me out of being almost continuously in that state of anxiety to being free. And I was lucky because I had loads of these triggers coming up every day, so I could practice it every day, every day, every day. It's a golden ticket to freedom. It's a golden ticket to awakening to your being. It really is. And that's why I say anxiety is a gift. If you learn how to use it, if you have the will to use it, if you want freedom more than you want suffering. If you want freedom more than you want suffering, you will get freedom. You have the choice. Okay, so much love, my friends. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this workshop series. We're really enjoying sharing these teachings with you, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Much love.